The hidden cost of hiding. You will hear how pulling away from people can quietly weaken you. Told by Alex Rivera, guide and storyteller. This one starts in a quiet office after everyone else has gone home. Grab a seat and listen, because the warning hides in plain sight. I met Diego Morales during a rainy April in Chicago. He ran a small logistics company that moved auto parts across the Midwest. At 43, he had sharp eyes, pressed shirts, and a smile that never showed teeth. For years, he ate lunch at his desk, skipped trade shows, and told his team, "If we stay small and quiet, no one will bother us." He kept his windows tinted, his phone number unlisted, and his door locked by 4 each day. When a supplier invited him for drinks, he said, "I have reports to check." When a driver warned him about a rival poaching clients, he answered, "I don't trade gossip." He believed that if he stayed invisible, problems would roll past like thunder. What rolled in instead was silence. No one called with offers. No one warned him when a national chain undercut his best contract. The first real sign of trouble arrived on a pale Monday. His biggest customer sent a short email ending their 5-year agreement. In 12 lines, they thanked him and moved every load to a competitor. Diego stared at the screen, stunned. He walked the warehouse floor alone, counting racks that would soon sit empty. Then he drove home, locked the door, and stared out the window. He told himself the market was simply rough. He did not call anyone, because he had trained himself to trust no one. Week 2 brought worse news. 2 drivers quit, lured by signing bonuses at a firm he'd never heard of. A clerk asked for a meeting, slid a resignation letter across the desk, and whispered, "Sir, you might want to know people are saying you're done." Diego felt his throat tighten. Instead of asking who those people were, he nodded and signed the letter. By the end of the month, he sat in a hollow building. Freight invoices lay unpaid, phones stayed silent, and the parking lot turned into a gray lake of cracked asphalt. He tried to fight back by cutting prices, but no one answered his emails. He was a ghost in his own industry. I met him at a coffee shop that spring. He asked if I knew anyone who needed warehouse space. I told him what mattered was not the space, but the people he'd stopped seeing. He frowned and said, "I protected myself from the noise." I replied, "The noise is where the living happens." We spent the next hour listing every person he had brushed off for 5 years. Former clients, ex-employees, competitors he'd once beaten on bids, suppliers who owed him favors. We wrote 37 names on a napkin and ranked them by how much they still respected him. Then I made him call 3 of them before we stood up. The first call stung. An old buyer laughed and said, "I thought you retired." But he listened when Diego admitted he'd been wrong to vanish. The second call connected to a warehouse manager who needed overflow storage. The third rang through to a logistics broker who hated the national chain that had crushed Diego. They met the next day. Within a week, Diego reopened his dock doors. Drivers returned, lured by steady freight and sincere apologies. Old clients gave him small loads to test him. He attended industry breakfasts, asked questions, and paid for coffee. The man who once locked his door by 4 now left it open past 6. He discovered rumors that could have saved him months earlier. He learned which competitors struggled, which lanes were hot, and which customer service reps could push his invoices to the top. 1 year later, his company was smaller, but it hummed. Margins stayed lean, yet checks cleared. He told me, "I built a wall and called it safety. I almost lost everything because I confused hiding with protecting." Summary: isolation feels safe, but it blinds you. Diego's story shows how cutting yourself off from people, news, and chances also cuts away your warning system. Stay present, stay curious, and let the crowd shield you while you offer value in return.